Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Friday, Lock Shoppers. What is up? Welcome to the program. Heading into the weekend. Huge Game 5 tonight. Oilers Stars. Canadian Open continues. Pat's going to jump on from Hamilton and give us a bit of an update. And I know Matthew Iwanyk is fired up to talk about the Champions League final tomorrow. Of course, shout out to everybody in chat. I see there were some odds laid on what I'd be wearing today. Bomber gear, jet gear, Coolbet WST off the board with the Chiefs. There's Matthew Moreau, who had the Chiefs. I will be throwing on some Bomber gear tonight. Final preseason game of the exhibition calendar, and then Maddie, we're go time next week for the Canadian Football League right here in the Peg on Thursday night. Grey Cup rematch. It seemed like training camp just started, and we're about to get going with the real deal next week. I can't wait.
Oh, it's the best. It's such a great time of the year. Nothing like the start of the CFL season, and you got it Thursday. We got it Saturday with Edmonton in town here hosting the Riders. So we get a nice big matchup to start the season. Elks preseason tonight. Elks taking on the Lions. Elks aren't really playing anyone, but football's back, It's just getting out to a stadium, enjoying the nice weather, watching some good football. There's nothing like it, so I can't wait. I have my CFL fantasy football draft on Monday, so I got to do some prep for that. It's the greatest CFL fantasy football league there is, the Dunya. It's not the one Dusty's in. They took all their stuff from me, but our league's great, and we've got our big draft Monday, so I'll be focused a lot on Saturday to the cuts around the CFL.
Hey, it's kind of been funny in and around Winnipeg. I mean, with the success the Bombers have had for 4 years, you're going to lose a few veterans to bigger paychecks elsewhere. So for the first time in a while, there's been some significant training camp battles. But I mean, it's still a veteran team. They're still favored to win. Very different scenario in Edmonton right now. I mean, the bar couldn't be much lower as opposed to where this team's been over the last few years. But are people optimistic that this is going to be a more competitive team under Chris Jones this season, or is it all just sort of wait and see?
Well, there's factions to this. There are some out there that are 100% think this is going to be a better team. That, bringing in McLeod Bethel-Thompson, this team's going to take that step forward. There's some out there that just are going to always be skeptical about this team because of, who knows, and we got to wait and see. But then there's the people like me that goes, they screwed up this offseason because they should have just handed the reins to Trey Ford. Let him be the guy, see what he can be, and spend some money on your offensive line, which they didn't do. And I have great concerns about the offensive line for the Elks. Although, based on last weekend, it sounds like MBT, kind of like Trevor Harris, has a quick release. So maybe the O-line gets a little bit of relief with him as quarterback, and that helps this team. But there are people like me that think this team is better off with Trey Ford as the starting quarterback. So very concerned about the offseason that Chris Jones had here. So it's all over the place when it comes to the Elks. Although it is a big year, it's 75th anniversary. So there's a lot of celebrations coming next week. There's a lot happening around the 75th. And with that, there is a good vibe around the team, at least right now, because of the big celebration that is going to come. But, it all could change next. Last year was the first game of the season where the Elks had that shot from the goal line. They had and goal from the 1, 3 shots, and they couldn't get it into the end zone, and they lost to the Riders. Their season fell apart in that moment. And that was only week 1, so I think there's a lot of concern about what could happen next Saturday.
I'll say this about getting MBT, and I know there's, it's a fun discussion to have on sports talk shows, who should be the starter. Having 2 quality quarterbacks is not a bad thing.
No?
I mean, and I would say this about Trey Ford. As talented as he is, as exciting as he is, the risk of going all in on a player that young with the stakes right now for the Elks, I get why they went and got a veteran quarterback to come in. And listen,
Sure.
MVP can sling it.
I don't want to. We have a lot to get to on the show. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. What's the ceiling of the Elks with McLeod Bethel-Thompson? What is the ceiling of this team? Is it 10 wins? Is it third in the West? That's the way I look at it. Is it better than that? Because I don't see it that way. If it's 10 wins and third in the West, well, what could you get with Trey Ford? To me, that's 7 wins maybe, and maybe you get a crossover. MBT's not the future of this team. And with Trey Ford, at least you could have built out your offensive line. You could have kept Jake Sresna because you're not trading for Curly's Gittins Jr. And I get what you're saying there, but it's not like there's Zach Collaros is coming to the Elks here. There's McLeod Bethel-Thompson, who in the last Grey Cup, it was Chad Kelly that won that Grey Cup. So, like, I don't think the ceiling's that there, so that, yes, you're right, it is an important year, and you maybe can't go all in on the rookie, but it's not like they went with a guy that I feel like the Elks now are challenging Winnipeg or BC in the West. So Chris Jones still might lose his job at the end of this season. But Trey Ford might walk. Games. Trey Ford's a free agent, and he might walk because you pissed off Trey Ford. And like this team's won 8 games over the last 2 seasons. 5 of them have been with Trey Ford as the starting quarterback. I have a lot to go off on next week.
And that Ryder team that's coming in is looking a lot different. Obviously, Corey Mace, the head coach. Well, next week.
Good moves there.
Next week, and I don't know what day works for you, but before Thursday, we're going to need to get you in and basically hammer out these CFL props for the upcoming season, win totals. We'll wait till you go through.
Well, here's the thing. So, what's the PGA next week? It's not.
Pardon me?
Is the PGA next week? Is it the U.S. Open?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, because you guys have your golf on the Wednesday generally, though. But
we usually do golf on the
Tuesday or Thursday, like even Thursday, day of.
Yeah. Well, listen, there'll be lots of stuff for us to kick around. I know Dusty's gone, so yeah. We'll
any day if you want to talk CFL with me, I can't do Monday, but if you want to bring me on to talk CFL, I'm always game to talk some CFL. Huss.
Hey, listen, that's exactly what is going to be happening. Shout out, I see. See, Duck Dad made a CFL parlay. The odds came out to be 1440, so I'm chucking it away. Bad omen.
On the CPL.
A CPL, I see.
Yeah, CPL.
Let's first off, Panthers get it done last night. They were minus 125 on the money line. Just a relentless team right now, and I'm still hoping this gets to 7. I mean, game 7 at MSG between these two teams would be unbelievable, but we're seeing why the Panthers have been favored throughout the playoffs. Rangers are a quality team. Shesterkin's playing great, but they just are a step behind Florida through most of the game. And you look at shot attempts, shots on goal, scoring chances, everything heavily weighted towards the Panthers. They should be up, and they are, and they're 1 win away from getting to the Cup final. Well-coached
hockey team with Paul Maurice. Don't want to take anything away from Peter Laviolette because he's a Stanley Cup winning coach. But also you look at this Panthers team, and they were there last year, so they know what it takes to go get there. And it's just the Rangers. They've had chances to close out the Panthers in a few of these games and haven't been able to get that done and allow the Panthers to hang around, tie the game, and then win it. It does scream 7 to me though. This series, like it's hard to see that. The Rangers aren't going to counter as we've seen this entire series. But you got to feel like the Panthers going home, they're going to feel really good to probably finish this off and maybe try to get a few extra days rest, depending what happens to Oilers Stars, because that's one that could potentially go 7. Great series. It's funny, though, because the Rangers are the most disrespected President's Trophy team I think I've ever seen in my life. They've never been the favorite in going into any of these series. No one's counted on them. So as we're sitting here going, maybe the Panthers they're gonna go do this, but we're disrespecting the Rangers again. I don't know why we keep disrespecting this team. But overall, the NHL, great conference finals between the 2 series, and it's great for the league because you're going up against the NBA conference finals, which weren't that great. There were some good games. The Pacers blew it against the Celtics, a few of those games, but they weren't that great of a series. In the NHL, what they've presented to especially the American audience, because they've got Canada, it's been way better, and it's been great for business, I would say, for the National Hockey League. And
speaking of the NBA, Luka, 20 points in the first quarter last night, taking away any suspense in Game 5 as to whether the T-Wolves be able to get that series back to Dallas for Game 6. The finals are set, and it is the Dallas Mavericks going up against the Boston Celtics. And it's funny, we were looking at what the odds were going to be for Dallas and Boston. Boston's been steady at minus 233 to win the series all week. The Mavs went up 3-0, were plus 180, I believe. They lost that game. We said yesterday, if you like Dallas, now's a pretty good time to get in at plus 230 because I don't think that number is going to be there if they do advance. And it's right back to where it was, essentially as a 3-0 series. Dallas plus 185 and the Boston Celtics minus 233. Got to wait until next Thursday for that series to get going. So
is that ridiculous?
I know. I don't get it, but the one thing about this series and the Cup Finals the same way, so many people travel, although you don't know where you're traveling to yet, so I'm not sure that plans couldn't be changed if people don't have their destination yet.
You got to be able to move it up by a day, like 2 days, I think. There's got to be a way to change Game 7, take that away, put Game 1 on the Tuesday instead of the Thursday.
Yeah, I was looking at the schedule, too. There's 2-day breaks after Game 3, Game 5, Game 6.
For the NHL?
So, yeah, it really does.
And that, like, you got to think, if you're going Florida versus Edmonton, that's big travel. The teams are going to need those extra days between the travel of having to go from Edmonton to Florida and vice versa. Makes a lot of sense that way. Plus, you're also having to go up against the NBA, which they're going to have their schedule, and now the Mavs are in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. How about this year for Dallas? I mean, the Rangers win the World Series. The Stars are sniffing around the Stanley Cup. The Mavs are in the finals. Don't worry, the Cowboys won't finish the job. That's one thing.
We can always count on the Cowboys to be the Cowboys.
Yeah. Well, let's get to this game tonight. Yeah. How are the vibes around EST and around Edmonton?
You want to
coming off that huge comeback in Game 4?
There was a lot of nerves going into Game 4 because the Oilers lose Game 4, 3-1 series. It's hard to see them winning 3 straight against the Dallas Stars. It feels like it's over. So there's a lot more confidence, I feel, in the city. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of nerves and sensing that a bit. But I think with how the Oilers played for 55 minutes through Game 4, how they had that poor start, but immediately responded and really didn't give the Stars anything the rest of that hockey game, winning that game. And then on top of that, the Tanev news, with him leaving the game, not returning, him in a walking boot. It's announced that he's going to be a game-time decision tonight. I think there's a lot of confidence with Oiler fans right now in the city of Edmonton that they're going to be able to get this done. That changes the series significantly. The Tanev, because even if he is playing, how healthy is he? If he's in the lineup tonight, you're going to see the Oilers dumping that puck in and going at him. You're going to see them forcing him to make turns and seeing how much could he actually do on that foot. So, and if he's out, okay, well, they've got a young kid that's going to have to come in. I think he's a 22-year-old, making his debut in the National Hockey League playoffs in a conference finals Game 5 against the Edmonton Oilers. So I think the vibes right now across the city people are pretty confident because through 4 games, these teams are even. These teams are really close. And you now take out Tanev. I think that balances things slightly in the Oilers' direction. And ultimately, the Dallas Stars, they're not this great home beast. They lost the first 2 games against the Vegas Golden Knights to start that series. True. They lost to the Avs. They lost to the Oilers in Game 1 to start this series. I think there's a lot of people that think that the Oilers are going to come out of this one with a chance to clinch their spot in the Stanley Cup Final on Sunday.
Wow. Sunday night. Can you don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but...
Well, the Campbell Trophy will be there. Campbell Trophy will be in the arena.
And that's why, we've seen the numbers. What is it historically of series that is tied 2-2? I think the team that wins Game 5 is somewhere in and around 75% in winning in winning the series. So this is an absolutely massive game. And just to your point about the home road splits for the Stars, for the Oilers in this series, I'll be honest, I thought the Oilers should have won Game 2. They had such a great start.
Yeah.
They could have been up 3 or 4-0. I thought, after a period or halfway through the game. And
Haas,
Dallas
go to Game 3. They were up 2-0 in Game 3. They had it, and they allowed the Stars to take it, have that big second period and, trailing 3-2, and then they ultimately tie it and then lose after that 4th goal. But, you're up 2-0 in Game 3, and you blow that one.
That one was the worst one of all, just because. And listen, it's happened to both teams. It's kind of crazy. This has been the ultimate series to live bet.
Don't score
first.
Find out
who has the good start. Find out who has the good start. Wait till they get down a couple and then hammer the other side. It's come through in back of these in both of these last two games.
Here's a question I'll throw at you, though, because if the Oilers are to win in 6, that means they beat the Stars 3 straight times. Do you see the Oilers possibly winning this in 6?
I think it's going 7.
Okay.
I think it's going 7. I've thought that all along. And listen, we need one of either this series to go 7 or the Rangers to win in game 6 for us to get our combined over 12.5 games in the conference finals, which we threw out. So I will definitely be riding with the Rangers. Hey, if the Rangers get it done tomorrow, then we're good. It doesn't matter. Oilers can clinch it in. In 7, or in 6, I should say. The line tonight is very similar to what we've seen in Dallas and Edmonton in this series really throughout. The road team, Edmonton, a slight plus money underdog at plus 108, and the Dallas Stars at minus 127. The total for the series is 5.5, which is interesting just because I think Edmonton's going to score. I do think, let me ask you just quickly about keeping the puck out of the net. Stuart Skinner lets in the first goal again, has a tough one in. Like, the final 55 minutes, is that the best we've seen him? And I guess he did have that one game in LA where he made like the 33 saves and he sort of stole 1-0. But the stakes so high, like that has to be, as much as everyone was on Nurse and talking about other things, for him to solidify, hold the ground, and do it for the rest of the game. I mean, behind the scenes, I think that has to be absolutely huge for Edmonton going into tonight.
Well, what I loved out of it was, when we seen him, I'll go to the Vancouver series, he let in those bad goals. It got to him, and he wasn't able to dial into the rest of his game and forget about those bad goals, and that ultimately led to him needing the reset and Calvin Pickard coming into the lineup for 2 games. The way Game 3 ended with that he had a great game in Game 3, but he had a bad goal allowed, that 4th goal, where he just can't let that one in. And I was very intrigued going into Game 4, being like, okay, how's Skinner going to respond to this? Because what we've seen, at least in the Vancouver series, when he has that poor goal the game before, it impacts him that day, and then he lets in that first goal. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And then the second goal goes in, and of course it's Nurse. It banks off of Nurse and goes past Skinner. Like, the two guys that don't need to be involved with that, it's those two. And I was looking to Jim Matheson from post-meeting. I was like, we're going to see Pickard tonight. Like, that's the way this is going. But instead it went the reverse, and Skinner dialed in, and he allowed that to get past him. He allowed himself to forget about that and just focus on his game and trust that his team will get the team back into it. And that's a nice little learning I think we've seen now from Stuart Skinner, that, I threw it to Joaquin Gage and Matt Cassian on one of our shows yesterday, who's had the edge in goaltending this series, and they both very slightest of edge to Jake Ottinger. I almost want to go slightest of edges to Stuart Skinner. I think he's been that good in this series that he's had one bad goal. And overall, though, he's been dialed in. Like, you go to a lot of the games this series, he's doing what he didn't do in Vancouver, and that's making those big saves and those big moments that you needed. And this is the goalie that I think the Oilers thought they were going to get these playoffs and that they could win a Stanley Cup with. So I've been really impressed with the way Stuart Skinner has played in this series, and especially in Game 4 that was, because it could have really went away from him. We've seen it go away from him in the past, but he didn't allow that to happen, and the Oilers came back and won that hockey game.
I'm just looking at some of these point props for tonight. We're still getting plus 146 on Dry to get over 1.5 points.
I sent the boys the EST parlay for today just a few minutes ago. I have the Draisaitl goal in there. McDavid 2 points, Leon a goal, Bouchard a point, Oilers winning over 5.5. So hopefully they could get that up, but Draisaitl's just being ridiculous right now. Take the plus money.
Yeah, well, exactly. He had the 2 games without a point, and then came up big, as did Connor and the big boys. And we said we can talk about who's coming in on the 4th line and the 6th defenseman all we want. If the Oilers are going to the Stanley Cup, it's going to be on the backs at 97 and 29, and they got it done. All right, you know what? We are going to, I want to talk Champions League, but I don't know if we can bring in Patty, Matt, but Pat is here.
Yeah, it's Zach's working on it right now.
Excellent. All
Zach,
right.
give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go.
And
we're good to go whenever.
For all of you that have been paying attention to the Canadian Open, a nuclear round from our guy, Mac Hughes, 40-1. Shot a 64. Unfortunately, he was actually at 9 under. Ended up bogeying his 16th and 17th holes. But just a hell of a round. Went out in 30 today. 2 eagles on the card. And there's a Canadian flag right up near the top of the leaderboard. Bobby Mack, Robert McIntyre, 10 under with the lead. Andrew Novak. And as they say, well, just as soon as we can pull Pat in, we'll see how the fellas are making out there.
Get to go whenever.
There we are, live.
What's
from
up,
Hamilton
boys?
Golf and Country Club. Patty, how's the Canadian Open? How is our national championship treating you guys?
It's gorgeous. I know there's a lot of folks who say the Hammer is not, one of the pearls of Ontario, but Ancaster is a gem. Hamilton Golf Course is a gem. It's a beautiful course, beautiful day here. And as you were saying, Mac Hughes started the day off strong for the Canadians, but the other Canadians are holding up here too. Adam Svensson's come to life, man. He's rolling it right now. He's 2 under through 3. Just teed off at 4. Got a great tee shot here, so we're feeling good. And Pendy, I mean, you guys should see the crowd for this Pendy, Taylor, Rory group. It's insane. We're gonna try to pop with them on the back 9, but it's remarkable. It's remarkable how big that group is. But Pendy's even to start his round. So.
Well, and I'm just thinking about those exclusives that we have put together. And the one, I think this might have been the Greggy's Golf Special, if I'm not mistaken. But we need Rory to top 10 and Pendy and Svenny to make the cut. And right now, it's looking like, I mean, take
Cut's
this for
even
what
right
it's worth. They're projecting the cut to be even. You got a massive group of players at even right now, which is T53, and still some other players going off right now. So, Pat, a good start for Adam Svensson was mandatory, really, and it seems like he's feeling it with 2 birdies right out of the gate in his first 3 holes.
You should see him. He looks really confident. To be honest, he's a golfer that, I know I said it about Pendrith, but same thing with Svenny. He could be 5 under, he could be 4 under. You don't really know. The guy is he's calm, cool, and collected. He hits his shot and basically sprints up to his next ball. He's not a Patrick Cantlay, let's just say. But he's really confident right now, and he's rolling the putts. He is one of the Canadian elite ball strikers. Like, he's got so much to his game. Just the struggles have come from the flat stick, and look what he's able to do when he's starting to roll them. And if he can catch some fire with the flat stick at Hamilton. This course, man, some of the greens are really, really, really tough. So as long as he's putting well, I'm feeling if that cut line's at even, he should be staying clear. He should be making some noise here. And we're walking with the group here. Shane Train, your boy, just dropped me off a nice cold beverage here. So
Yes.
we're excited. Svenny's playing well. Burns is unfolding. He is unraveling. Which, as you know, as someone who's bet Sam Burns before, it's a roller coaster. It's an absolute roller coaster. But I'm also keeping my eye on, like I said, on the back 9. We're gonna head over to see Pendy. But I don't know if you saw the tweet. I went head to head against Rory. I don't care. I think Pendy is going low today. Doesn't mean, because I know we need Rory to be in the top 10, but I think Pendy realizes, what's at stake here. I think he's a guy that likes the crowd, likes being one of the Canadians here. He's wearing the red cap yesterday. A lot of media coverage because of that big win a few weeks ago. So I think all these Canadians are really fired up. And you saw it, Mac Hughes. He's in his backyard. He was unbelievable this morning.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm pretty fired up about that 40-1 ticket I got on Mac. I mean,
40-1.
We kind of said
Nice.
that. We said that Nick Taylor, I think, inspired every single one of these guys and showed what is possible. They don't have to hear about the fact that no Canadians won it in forever. And now the opportunity to go back to back. Speaking of, Pat, the Canadians, we were all on the over 7.5 Canadians to make the cut. And this is going to be a real focus coming up this afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking in. So right now, Svensson is on the cut line. Will Bateman, a Canadian, he shot even yesterday. He is teed off.
Yeah, he's an Edmonton boy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Edmonton area.
Well, we're going to be pulling for him to get even or better. We mentioned Svensson. David Hearns finished his round and is in it even, so he'll be playing the weekend. Miles Creighton, another Canadian I'm not familiar with. He's 1 under. He's playing the 16th right now. He's at even. If he can stick around, that's another Canadian that'll be making the cut. Now, Mike Weir, we'll see what happens with Weir. He was 2 under yesterday. He bogeyed the first hole. He's 1 under right now. Pendy's 1 under right now. Ben Silverman's 1 under. He's playing 18, so he's in a real good spot to make the cut. We continue to move up the Corey Connors had a real strong round. He was 3 under, so he's at 4 for the tournament. And of course, Mac Hughes. So
also though, you have Nick Taylor, who's a 2 back from the cut. He's +2 right now, so he might still be able to go do it.
Yeah, and he's in that Rory Pendy group. It's like I said, like 5 rows deep. And we saw what he did last year with the pressure on him. Like, I think he's going to feed off the energy of the crowd.
Yeah.
They're going to be behind him. To be honest, they're going to be behind all 3 guys. They love the Canadians, but let's be honest, man. We walked by the driving, it was over the driving range, and it was. You could have told me it was a live pay-per-view for WWE, how packed it was around the ropes, because people were just watching Rory warm up and hit his drives, and it was awesome to see. So I think that group, all 3 guys are going to feed off the energy at this golf course.
Well, it should be great. Now, do you have to keep telling Jake not to yell mashed potatoes after everyone? Everyone.
Hi. You got to see this shirt. I just tweeted at you. When you guys get off Lock Shop, check it out. I won't say what it says on here. People can go check it out on my Instagram on my Twitter. Hilarious. I just saw a guy wearing it. So funny.
Gotta keep an eye on this guy.
That is outstanding. You know what? I think there's a lot of Aaron's pals and family and stuff. I mean, let's face it, the guy's playing in Europe and in Middle East and all that, does not get an opportunity to play in front of friends and family. So he unfortunately didn't have a great opening round. He won't be there on the weekend, but he's loving it. And Patty, just before we go, once the round is done, there'll be reset odds, I imagine, for the Canadian Open up at Coolbet.
Yeah, we'll have the reset odds. We'll have those ready to go head-to-head matchups, and then of course we'll have the reset for outright winners. So keep an eye on that. We'll tweet those out when they go live, but always just head over to coolbet.com, and again, we'll probably have those head-to-head matchups for round number 3 as well. So keep your eyes to our socials. Jake's is hammering out a bunch of great content live on location as well.
Yeah, I know Jake's had a lot of fun. I'm going to be I'm going to have one eye on the tube today, guys, and I know that group's going to be getting a lot of TV time. So loud and proud today, boys, out there supporting the Canadians at Hamilton GC. Have a great time, though. Very jealous. Say what's up to Shane Train, Jake, and the rest of the guys, Patty, and have a great weekend down at our National Open. It should be phenomenal. Go Mac Hughes.
Absolutely. Go Mac Hughes, go Svenny, go Penny, go all the Canadians. Absolutely love it. Thanks for having me, boys. Cheers. And Iwanyk, go Oilers, buddy. I got them to win tonight, so please cash that ticket for me.
Plus 108. Pat, have a great one, man. Thanks so much. And oh man, that looks fun. A beautiful day out there. And
I'm so jealous.
It's great. Right? We were talking about that number of Canadians to make the cut, and I'm just looking to see what it was. I think it was 4-1. I'll have to pop it up into my open bets. But anyways, it was an awesome move. And it seems like the guys are having a great time. And it'll give us something to really pay close attention to over the weekend. And hopefully a few of our shots at the beginning of the tourney can stick around. I do love the 3-1 Greggy's golf special. Rory McIlroy top 10 and Svensson and Pendy to make the cut. So we're going to have the cut sweat today, and then see if Rory can top 10 it, and that would be very, very nice. A couple other guys that I was on, Akshay Bhatia, he's going to be playing the weekend. He's 2 under par right now. We'll see what happens with the big guy, Shane Lowry, because Lowry had a really rough first round, but he has made it back to even and will be playing there. Gotta love that. The big Irish bear getting it in. All right.
Can I jump in quickly? And just do a qualifying throw at the keyword for $100,000 hole-in-one contest, which is presented by Golf Town, which will take place July 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. 17th hole, 180 yards out. What we're doing is we're qualifying people each show. You go into a draw the next morning show. So everyone that's qualifying today, there'll also be Hello Hockey and a VIP golf show Saturday and Sunday. The 6 of you will go into a draw Monday morning. The boys will call someone. That person will be the contestant for the hole-in-one contest with the possible chance to swing for $100,000 on July 3rd. So you're qualifying for the chance to go into the draw here. What you got to do is get your phone out and text us 780-218-9999 PAR. PAR, P-A-R. PAR to 780-218-9999. We will qualify someone, and at the end of the lock shop, at the end, you could just bounce out, and I'll wrap up the show, and I'll announce our qualifier and everything like that. But it's PAR to 780-218-9999. This is the $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by a Golf Town Father's Day deals. It's the TaylorMade, huge deals on TaylorMade in-store online, golftown.com, or visit them in-store from now until June 9th for that Golf Town deal.
So all the qualifiers are going to get a chance to swing it?
So the qualifiers go into a draw. Then we're going to qualify from that draw the contestant for the day. We're going to have 25 contestants. They will have a possible chance to swing for $100,000. The thing is, if someone holes one, it's over. We're done. So if the 10th person coming up holes it and wins $100,000, we're done for the day.
Yeah, he'll be buying a bunch of beers in the clubhouse for everybody.
Well, you said $100,000 as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he ended up coming home with 30 because had to take care of all the other contestants. Maddie, let's get to it. If you go to coolbet.com, right there on the front page, we have the Champions League final. What is it? 2:00 here, 1:00 in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. Now, I have not followed the Champions League as closely as maybe in some other years. We always know that Real Madrid's one of the world powers and they're a great team.
Yep.
Am I correct? Is Borussia undefeated? Is Dortmund like they just simply haven't lost in the better part of this season?
Actually, that's a good question. They've lost the quarterfinal first leg to Atletico, at least in Champions League. They lost the quarterfinal first of the leg, and they lost to PSG at the start of the group stage back in September, October, whatever it would have been. But they have been playing some really good ball. They are a team that, they shut down Mbappe and PSG from getting here. They were kind of on a bit of the easier side of the bracket once we got to the later stages of the knockout stage of Champions League. They had to go through Atletico and then PSG, whereas the other side had Bayern, Man City, Real Madrid, and was it Arsenal? It might have been Arsenal in there. Like, it was clearly like one side was a lot heavier and tougher than the other side. But they've been playing some great soccer, and this comes from last year. They lost the Bundesliga, the German title, in like late minutes. All they had to do was go win a match, and they would have beaten Bayern Munich and been champions, and they blew it. And it was just huge devastation. Ooh. So for them to take that and come here and be at Wembley going up against, as you mentioned, Real Madrid, they are Champions League. They've won 14 of these. It's just in their DNA. No matter what type of season Real Madrid is having, you just know that in Champions League time, they're going to find a way to get this done. And they have had some big comebacks to get to this point. But it is a fascinating matchup because you got, as you said, it's the champions. It's the team that you always expect to be there in Real Madrid against really the underdog in this one, with Dortmund being there. They've won it in the past. They've been a finalist before. They are generally one of the top clubs of Germany. But I don't think at the start of this year anyone thought that they would be here in London going up for the title.
Listen, I mean, both of these teams obviously are world class. They're in the Champions League final, but who are some of the top players for both clubs in this game that are basically the guys to watch? If you haven't been paying attention and you're tuning in tomorrow, I mean, who are the impact players that sort of run things for both squads?
Well, and I'll start with Dortmund on that side, it's defender kind of though. Like I'll start their captain, their guy leading them is Mats Hummel, who has been a long-time German national team player. He's going to be the guy that's going to kind of carry that team. Sabitzer in the midfield, there's a guy that he was on loan to Manchester United last year, goes to Dortmund, and has had an excellent resurgence and a full season. He's a guy that's going to put some shots on the net. They got Marco Reus, I think this is going to be his last game ever for Dortmund. He's been a guy that's up forward, has been there a long time, long-serving Dortmund player. He's going to want to have a big final game with Dortmund. Jadon Sancho, who is on loan from Manchester United. He had a falling out with the manager of Manchester United. He's had a resurgence as he's gone back to Dortmund. Those are some of the guys to follow there, but really, like Dortmund, I look at outside of one match in the group stage against Atletico Madrid where they scored a lot of goals. This is a team that's not going to score a lot. They focus defensively. Whereas on the flip side, when you look at Real Madrid, their manager's going for his 5th title in Carlo Ancelotti. Luka Modric's going for his 6th title in the midfield. I don't think he's going to get the start in this one. But the guys that I think you're looking at are some of the youth that are at Real Madrid. Some people will look at it's about time Real Madrid maybe will fall off. I don't see that coming because Mbappe's going to be going there eventually, maybe Alphonso Davies. But Vinny Jr. is a guy that he scores goals. He's an excellent player. I will say in the casual world, not known well enough. He's very underrated, Vinny Jr. Him scoring is plus 144 right now on Coolbet. That's something I would be looking at. And Jude Bellingham in the midfield. He's played a lot of soccer, but he's very young, an Englishman, getting ready for the Euros coming up here. Hasn't scored a bunch during the knockout stage, but in the group stage was like scoring every single match. And he's plus 180, so there's someone to look at there as well. I really like Vinny Jr. It's going to be a fascinating matchup to watch, but those would be, I think, some of the bigger names in this one. I also look at it and go, like, I think under 3.5 goals is pretty safe, I would say. I don't see Dortmund winning this in the end. I think Real Madrid, it's just in their DNA to get this done. I could see this being Real Madrid up 1-0, and then they score the winner, ultimately finish things off in like the 85th, 86th minute or something, win this 2-0. So like that's where I'm looking at this one is that, Coolbet bet builder, Real Madrid to win, under 3.5, I think is safe. You could maybe try to go with the under 2.5. And if you want to get a little spicy, Vinny Jr. goal there.
I love the, I'm looking at the score, like the player scoring props. Great names. Vinicius.
That's Vinny Jr.
Plus 144. Rodrigo plus 165. And Joselu plus 180. And then, as you mentioned, Jude Bellingham at plus 180 as well. As far as the match goes, on the home draw away, Dortmund is plus 430.
Yeah.
The draw plus 330. And Real Madrid minus 152. I mean, not a bad number on Real. I mean, if they, at minus 152 is not, but it is a 3-way bet. Like,
yeah, Real has to win in 90 minutes for those that don't. They have to win in full time. They can't go to extra time. Otherwise, that's the draw win.
The total is 2.5. I mean, if you do see a 2-0 game, you can get plus money on under 2.5 at plus 113. Let's see. Do they have I was looking to see. Both teams to score is minus 123. No, plus 105. And just basically the money line, if you will, draw no bet. So who will win? That includes penalty kicks, everything. Real minus 357 and Dortmund plus 285. They do have double chance as well. Like if you want to take Dortmund and a draw, plus 136 on that. Real and draw is minus 524 and either team winning minus 391. Like I really want to kind of jump on the underdog here, but I think it's just a matter of finding a way that, you can sort of compensate for the likelihood that Real will win, and maybe see if they can stick around. I don't know. Maybe the draw plus 330 might be a fun little wager to see if they can hang on. But, just thinking about recent Champions League finals and looking at the odds here, Real would be one of the biggest favorites I think we've seen in recent Champions League history in the final match, Matty.
Yeah, last year City Inter. I don't think a lot of people would have given Inter much of a shot in that one. But generally, it's really close. But also, I just wanted to pull up quickly, if I could quickly find the finals. It doesn't feel like we historically have, or at least the last few years, that high scoring of matchups. That they generally are pretty tight games. Because I know last year was 1-0. Yeah, you look at the last 4 years. Last year, City beat Inter 1-0. The year before, Real beat Liverpool 1-0. The year before, Chelsea beat City 1-0. The year before, Bayern beat PSG 1-0. And then even the year before that, Liverpool 2-0 over Tottenham. These teams, I think they start out that they're little... they don't open things up right off the bat. They don't want to lose it right off the bat, and especially when you have an underdog like Dortmund coming in, I don't think they're going to want to have a big open match and allow Real Madrid to come and counter on them. Like if you allow Bellingham and Vinny Jr. and that entire offensive power of Real Madrid to come across, I don't think Dortmund wants to get into that, especially early. So that's where that under 2.5, especially at plus 113, based on the history of the last few years of the Champions League final, that one looks really good. Even what is the 1-0
first half draw, plus 138.
Plus one that's I like that one too.
Because you're sort of seeing. It teams like Real, they are going to. Just kind of wait for their spot, because I think they kind of feel that they will be able to capitalize and convert when they have the opportunity.
Real winning 1-0 is plus 750. So if you're going if you think Real's, or even Dortmund winning 1-0 is plus 1600. But if you go based on the history of those 1-0s, there's that plus 750 of Real Madrid 1-0. It's not bad for a little sprinkle.
Well, and listen, if you wanted to, betting adjusted unders in soccer, maybe not the most exciting thing to do, but if you think that it will be 1-0, you can get plus 320 on the under 1.5. Although, to your point, I think at that point, what you might want to do is split that bet on a plus 750 and a plus 1600 for both teams to make it happen. So Champions League final goes tomorrow. If you get over to Coolbet, gang, as Matt mentioned, there's bet builders. There are all sorts. There's mixed runs where match result and both teams to score, double chance and both teams to score. They do have a bet, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals is at plus 120. They're promoting that one as well. But overall, it should be a really, really fun matchup. And as I say, I'd love to see Dortmund win. I'm always sort of pulling for the underdog in these big matchups, but Real is a beast. Who did you say Real went through to get here?
They took down City. Was that last round?
Would they have been an underdog in that game?
They would have been. Yep. They went into those because I think it was City on that one, and they had a great match in Real Madrid, and then they had to go to City, and people weren't expecting it. The numbers were against Real Madrid. That was in the semis. Then last round it was Bayern Munich. They would have been the favorite against Bayern Munich. They got through that one. Actually, that was the one where Alphonso Davies had to look like it was going to be the winner, a beautiful goal winner in the 86nd minute or something. But then Real Madrid got their 2 goals to win on the aggregate. Prior to Bayern was City. Before that, it was Leipzig from Germany, and their group stage was Napoli, Braga, and Berlin. So having to go through City and Bayern, that was a pretty big one for them. And look, it's just they know how to win at this time. This is what they do, and I'm with. There's a part of me that doesn't want Dortmund to win because I'm a United fan, and I'm not going to get into the issues with that and Jadon Sancho. We don't have enough time for that. But also, as an Italian, I love Carlo Ancelotti, and I'd love to see him have his 5th title. So tomorrow, 1 o'clock in Edmonton, 2 o'clock in Winnipeg. If you want to watch it, it's on CBS. So you don't even need some sort of package for it. You can just watch CBS, and you get this the Super Bowl of soccer going. This is yearly the most watched match in the world, or most watched sporting game in the world.
Hey, I was out at the bar last night, and I hooked up with a couple buddies that told me that they are also going to be down in Atlanta watching Canada take on Argentina. So we had a great chat about that. Really looking forward to that. Now, do you know, is the Copa games going to be on TV?
TSN. Yeah, TSN's got the rights for that. So TSN,
Excellent.
June 14th is Euros, June 20th is Copa. So starting June 20th, you could watch soccer basically all day on TSN.
Listen, we're going to be leaning on you.
Tommy's next to me just rolling his eyes.
Oh, is Tommy
Tommy's
like he's
anti-soccer.
hockey hardo?
He doesn't want me to
Hockey
have this.
hardo
Yeah,
guy?
he's against me on this. But it's I think I can't remember the first matches of Euro started like 7 or 8, 7 in the morning. I think they get going, and then like 10 and noon or 1 o'clock or something. And then Copa America's at like 4 and 6, 8 at night or something here in Edmonton. It's gonna be all day. It's gonna be great. It's wonderful. And the Oilers, if they're going to go win the Stanley Cup, do it early. Do it quick. Go sweep that series in 4 so that we could get done with the Stanley Cup, have the parade, and I can enjoy all my Euros and Copa.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, even though I don't follow it as closely, I really do get into these big international tournaments. And man, with Canada, in the Copa this year, it's going to be phenomenal. One other quick note for lock shoppers: do not forget that the UFC promo is still a go. Make a $25 bet on any of the matchups and get a free $25 bet on Monday. So it's sort of like you can't lose. I'll often just look at either the most notable fight on the card, or one that I think, or either a guy that I want to win. I mean, it's just fun. You have a little bit of action in on UFC. If you win, great. That money's in your account, and you get the $25. And if you lose it, you basically get it back on Monday to go forward. So that is their opt-in over at Coolbet. And again, if you guys haven't played at Coolbet already, use the promo code LOCKSHOP for a 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. Maddie, great stuff. I cannot wait to chop it up with you next week and get into CFL futures. Good luck in your fantasy draft on Monday.
Thank you.
And enjoy the Champions League final tomorrow. But first things first, see if the Oilers can get it done and come back within one game of a trip to the Cup final. Have
a great weekend, Huss. I can't wait to talk some CFL with you next week. Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up right away. What do you got coming up, by the way?
Well, we got a big one today. Murata Tesh is going to join us. He's one of our favorites from The Athletic. We'll kind of break down where the Jets go from here now that Scott Arneal's been hired. Brandon Rowicki from Skates and Plates jumping on. Eddie Tate from BlueBombers.com will tee up tonight's preseason game, focusing on some of the big training camp and positional battles that still exist going into tonight's game. And we'll do a little NFL notebook with Hacksaw Hamilton and Lock Shoppers. Don't forget, around 1:45 Edmonton time, jump on over into WST and we'll get you into the Friday marble race. Iwanyk, have an awesome weekend. Thanks for doing this.
You as well. Talk with you next week. There's Huss Winnipeg Sports Talk. Go check that at the Marble Race. That's awesome. That's always so much fun. And I can't wait to talk CFL next week. The Sacramento Gold Miners, my CFL fantasy football team, we're looking to get back the title and win our 4th title. We got to take it away from the San Antonio Texans. Congratulations to our qualifier for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golftown. Swing big this Father's Day and find dad or yourself the perfect gift at Golftown. Save big with huge deals on TaylorMade in-store and online. Now through June 9th, don't miss their top deals like the TaylorMade Sim2 driver for only $330, 25% off TaylorMade bags. There are 2 dozen prior gen TP5 golf balls, only $80, plus much, much more this Father's Day. Give the gift of golf. Visit them in store or at golftown.com for more details. Some exclusions apply. Golftown, your ultimate destination for Father's Day gifts. Kevin, congratulations. You are in the draw Monday morning. 1 in 6 chances of being the contestant with the possible chance to swing for $100,000. July 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club on the 17th hole, 180 yards out. Next chance to qualify coming up during the oil stream with myself and Tom Gazzola. And then you'll have a chance to qualify in Hello Hockey on Saturday and then the VIP Golf Show on Sunday. Right now, we have to qualify for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. So the music's just starting a little too soon there, Zach. Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, July 12th through to the 14th at Kingsman Park. Burt Kreischer, Whitney Cummings are on the Sunday. Kevin Hart on the Saturday. It's completely sold out for the Friday. That's going to be headlined by Andrew Schultz and Shane Gillis. We want to qualify you for that VIP table for 4 to Kevin Hart. Alley Cat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival here in Edmonton. By the way, if you are in Winnipeg, still tuned in, you haven't flipped over to Winnipeg Sports Talk just yet, there is a Great Outdoors Comedy Festival in Winnipeg as well. GreatOutdoorsComedyFestival.com for the lineup plus tickets out in Winnipeg and also for the here in Edmonton. Can't get a set to the Friday, but you still have a limited number of tickets today. You can get for Saturday or Sunday. Today's the last day to get it before the early bird pricing ends. As of tomorrow, the price will go up a bit. right now, today, last day for early bird pricing. If you want to get into the draw for the VIP table to see Kevin Hart on the Saturday at Kingsman here in Edmonton, you're going to have to guess it. I'm doing it. Champions League. Who wins? I'm not even going to ask for the score. Who wins? Is it Real Madrid or is it Dortmund? Text it to 780-218-9999. Dortmund's the underdog. Real Madrid has won 14 titles, but it's only a single match. Could Dortmund do it? You text me, 780-218-9999, and Zach Tacum will qualify someone. Up next, it is the Oil Stream Oilers Stars Game 5 here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Myself, Tom Gazzola, we will get you set for that game as well as on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube. Thanks for Pat Gregoire for joining us from out in Hamilton. Thanks to Huss for taking us through the lock shop today. He'll be back on Monday. I'm thinking with Pat Gregoire, maybe Jake Bolin Moss. I'll be on at some point. Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up next in just moments. But like I said, the Oil Stream coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk. I'm Matt Iwanyk. We'll talk with you in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.